Okay, so I'm going to start my fox painting with the eyes. I always start all of my watercolor animals with the eyes because if I don't get the eyes right, then I just feel like the painting's not worth doing. The eyes really are, to me, the most important part of the painting, and I do spend most of the detail painting the eyes. So you start by kind of highlighting the eyes, and I try to use a lighter color than what I'm going to end up with. So I am going to highlight in more of a black gouache, but I'm starting out with a brown, orange, and probably a red in there. You do want to kind of remember and keep in mind when you're painting eyes, the top part of the eye is always going to be darker than the bottom part of the eye. And that's because there's a shadow from the brow. Or is it the eyelid? Not the eyelid. It's definitely the brow. So you're going to have, anyway, there's a shadow. And the shadow is really important to create depth to this eye. So you do want the top part definitely darker, always. No matter what eye you're painting, there's going to be a shadow at the top that will add depth. And this is something I actually learned by watching other people paint. So I definitely think it's something to always try to remember. So there is usually like darker color around the middle part of the eye. So before you add black for the pupil of the eye or whatever, if you want to use a dark blue or any dark color, I usually use black because I think it looks better. But you can paint around where you're going to add the black, and that will give your eye some depth. I do use reference photos quite a bit, but I change them usually completely. I use reference photos mainly for the ratios and just to make sure everything looks proportionate. So after I kind of highlight where I want everything, I'm going to go back in and do really detail work with a really fine paintbrush. And I'm using black gouache to highlight around the eye, and then I'm going to kind of blend it in with the orange. So you can see it just looks really cool, and then I will blend out that orange. Now for this painting, this is an abstract painting, so the eyes are the most detailed portion of this painting. This is going to be just filled with color. I don't want a lot of rules. I just want it to be fun. I don't have to worry about anything. Life gives me enough problems as it is. I just want to enjoy myself. So that's really what I'm doing here. There's so much negativity right now in just the world in general that take this moment, take this time, and just really don't focus on anything else. Just have fun, just enjoy it. So I'm adding the background now, and I'm mixing blues, browns, and green, like a neon green in the background, and it will blend in and tone it down. So that's kind of what I use for the background. Now I'm going to come into the nose here, and I'm going to start with brown because I usually start with a lighter color. And I kind of overdid the top, so you will see me wiping off some of this paint with just a paper towel. The top portion of this nose you want to be lighter than the bottom, so just keep that in mind as you're painting. Now I always sketch out at least kind of the dimensions on where I want to start with this painting, and these are guidelines. Mainly it's important for the ears, the eyes, and the nose as far as like where they're gonna go. After I get that down, I can pretty much do whatever I want, so it creates a lot of freedom just sketching it out so you don't have to worry about it. Now I do freehand sketch. I know some artists will trace. I just don't really like to do that. I don't know. I guess I just feel like it's cheating, and I feel like your skills as an artist just get better with practice. So anyway, I do sketch things freehand, and I don't trace on any of my art. I just feel like it gives you a unique perspective on things, and that's kind of what art is. It's your perspective on something you're painting. You know, I put a lot of passion and heart into my artwork, and I want everyone else who's learning and painting too to do that. And doing that, like, who cares if everything's perfect? You don't really want perfection, especially with watercolor. At least I don't. I enjoy the freedom of it. All right, so I'm just going to come in with more colors. Now I am going to use some brighter colors. I'm with some of it, as you can see, the background is drying, and then you can kind of come back in and highlight with the darker, more bright colors and kind of get what you're looking for. So I use a lot of oranges. I use some hot pink, and I use blue. I use all kinds of colors, just whatever color that strikes me, I use. Like I said, I want freedom when I'm painting. I don't want to have to worry about a lot of rules. Now there are some things you have to worry about, and that's more like what colors mix together. So if you're gonna mix, say, yellow and blue, just remember what that will create, which is green. So I do not want a green fox, so those colors I do try to avoid mixing. So I'm coming in with some reds, and then I'm going to come in with some bright yellow, or sorry, oranges, and kind of mix those together and create just this beautiful abstract fur. It's just so much fun. And I'm just adding colors that strike me. So there's going to be some hot pinks, like I said, in here. There's going to be blue. There's going to be some yellow. There's red. And I get a little carried away here with the color, which is fine because there's a lot of water and you can just dab it off and start over. It's not even a big deal. Yep, there I go. Dab, dab, dab. Just get it off there. All right, and then you come in with some hot pinks. And I do use a mix of different types of watercolors. I will say I love Daniel Smith watercolors. They're super vibrant and they're just beautiful. But you can use whatever you want. Anything that creates bright colors. You know, I have some Japanese watercolors I bought off of Amazon, and they're actually pretty beautiful too. This is just me. I'm just slowly highlighting with some lighter colors first what I'm going to want. I am going to come in with some white gouache later, and kind of just the white parts are things that I want light. I'm just going to try to, when you mix that in, it kind of gives more of a muted color, which is perfect for the white parts that I want. Now nothing's going to be completely white because, well, it's hard to do that on watercolor anyway, but complete white is just, it's not really, I don't know. I don't really like a lot of white in my paintings, so there will be usually some color mixed. And like I said, this is going to be abstract, so there's going to be a lot of drips, and I'm going to be flicking a lot of paint around and just a lot of freedom, which is awesome. And I hope you do this with your art too. So my painting got cut off a little bit because I accidentally bumped my camera, so I'm just doing the same thing that I was doing with the top of the head to the rest of the fox, and it's just a little bit cut off, so you're not really missing much. So I'm going to go in and just start flicking some paint around too. Mainly with some blues and some hot pinks. It just gives it a really cool abstract feel, which is kind of what I like to do with most of my art. Alright, so we're getting close to the end. I just add some more detail. And at the very end, I'm going to add the whiskers, and the whiskers are always a little bit hard for me. Those are probably my least favorite part of painting is adding whiskers. I don't know why. I always have a hard time with that. So I am going to go in with the ears and add some white gouache to the blue. And then you can just dab off what you don't like. So there we go. So I added some white gouache to the ears. And now I'm just adding some whiskers and then we're pretty much done. So I'm going to let you finish up here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you learned something, and I really hope you enjoyed creating something fun and colorful and just had a great time. So if you liked my art, please subscribe, and I will try to add more tutorials on here. It's been a second. I've just been really busy. So I hope you guys all take care, stay safe, and thank you again for watching.